can do it. You ready? 1, 2.
No, wait. We can do what? We're done with that one.
Oh, okay.
We're done. We're moving on.
Let me pull up my email so I can see that.
I'm just trying to push us through this because
we're gonna have to do it.
It's fine.
Put me in, coach. I can do it.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to another fun-filled episode of Sound Pollution. We would like to remind you. Yes, get it. We would like to.
Can you feel it?
All right, so this episode is a re-release of episode 2 with KamuniQue. I still talk to 2 members of this band fairly regularly, actually. They are down near Austin, where Brent is.
Yeah, what do you say to them?
I say hello. What you doing?
It's a great way to start it.
That is. It is. You're a fucking asshole.
3
hours
later.
Anyway, they're really great people. I'm really glad that they were another person who chose to risk it and come on this podcast. It was just little old me in this tiny apartment. That apartment at the time had, I could hear my neighbors fart. So my neighbors were probably my second or third fans or our first enemies. Because
it's a
toss-up. In the beginning, before Brent, there wasn't anybody to, grease the wheels. For the first, 2 or 3 years, I was just winging it on red wine and, nicotine.
That's funny.
That's how we got through. But they're a really great band. They're really great people. Make sure you give them props. Drop into those links below. I loved having...
Drop, and roll. And down.
Stop, drop, roll, and download. So here is KamuniQue.
Thank you so much for having me. I had some questions. Really interested, you had kind of an interesting start. You want to just jump in and tell me who you are and kind of tell me how you guys got together?
Sure. Well, maybe we can go around the room real quick. So
that'd be great.
So my name is Tammy, and I'm the singer. I'm also one of the co-founders and one of the co-managers as well of the band. Tim and I actually started this band back in 2009. And we were in a praise and worship band together. And we started to kind of veer off during practices together and noticing that we had something. We had some sort of connection to write. And so that was kind of how we started together. Tim?
Yeah, it was, we were doing that, but, we had all come from, we'd been playing music. I'd been playing music for, years and years. And so, we met through that praise band, but we took it, a lot further outside those kind of boundaries to start stretching into just type of panoramic kind of mood music, emotion stuff, very imagery, soundscape kind of stuff.
Tim's the other co-founder, and he's the guitar player, and him and I write all the material.
Oh, that's cool.
And then we've got Rob.
And I'm the drummer, percussionist, and audio engineer.
Yes.
My name's Rob Hernandez, Drum and Rob, when I'm on stage. I do play drums, and I also play percussion here in the we're in. That is kind of a divided musicians, meaning not all drummers know how to play percussion instruments. Not all percussionists know how to play drums.
But tell her how you came into this band.
I came into KamuniQue. I had a short little ad on Craigslist, and basically I was looking for a gig. Something simple. Tammy contacted me, asked me if I also played percussion or played drums. And I said, yes, I do. And she said, well, we have a gig and we need a drummer. And I asked them, well, can you send me some music? Give me some MP3s, something to where I can hear the band, and I'll let you know, whether or not be interested. She said, we don't have any, and the gig is tomorrow night.
Yeah. So just be ready. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry.
Original music,
all
too.
originals.
None of this was cover music, so I decided to take a chance. I said, sure, I'll do it. You know what can go wrong?
That's ballsy.
Everything went great. Sounded great. I liked the energy of the band. It challenged me in ways that no other band had challenged me, because we played a wide variety of stuff, from reggae, jazz, Latin, funk, rock, you name it. This band incorporated all different aspects of music.
So that's how we came together.
I mean, at that time too, we had strange habits. Like, I can remember one of our first gigs was we were approached and asked to do a 3-hour gig, and we said yes, but we didn't have any material, zero. So we went up on stage for 3 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Music.
And I remember, you said that you wanted a bit of our story. Well, our first drummer was murdered. And that's kind of a story in itself, but
yeah.
So it left room for Rob.
So we'll let you guide the questions here, but that's how we all came together.
Okay, that's cool. I gotta ask though, how was the drummer murdered? I'm sorry if that's a sensitive question, but that's kind of like that had to really try your unity together. Like, it had to try your patience.
He was shot. It was unrelated to anything to do with the band. He just didn't have his personal life together. A lot of the time, he was such a great drummer. But at the time, we would pick him up in the middle of town. He was on the street. We rented a drum set for him and would pick him up, but he just never really could get the street out of and street took his life.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but that had to be trying on you guys.
Yes. We met him at Church Under the Bridge. We were part of Church Under the Bridge for 10 years with our praise and worship band. Mm-hmm. And so there was actually a drummer down there that he knew we were looking for a drummer to put this project together, and he referred us to Jersey. That was his name. And so there was that special connection too that we had with getting him. So yeah, it was really tough.
It was really tough, but you guys made it through it, and you found another good band member. So that's not a lot of bands can do that. So that's amazing.
Yes,
that's amazing. So I wanted to ask you a little bit. I know you said you guys kind of play all kinds of genres, and what kind of made your sound, your personal sound? What was your biggest influence?
We each have different influences, so that would be kind of worthy of sharing, I think. Me, I'm an 80s girl, and I'm really influenced by the male vocalists of the 80s, not so much the females, although I did like Madonna, but my favorite female singer is Kate Bush. She heavily influenced me. But the male singers, Simon Le Bon, George Michael, Steve Perry, Don Dokken. We're talking some really heavy hitters with powerful, clear voices. So that's my influence. Tim, what are yours?
Well, let me see. I'm coming from, I liked influences Jimi Hendrix, Jeff Beck, a lot of Dave Gilmour. But really, for the longest time, I've tried to do what I think each one of those people would tell me to do, is that, hey, I'm glad you're influenced by our playing, but now you like us for who we are, so now you should do what you do, and don't be us, because you won't be us, you be you. And so that's what I've been trying to do for a long time. I mean, nobody will ever really get away from their influences completely, but they can certainly start making my God, at some point in time, you got to make your own statement in life,
It's true. And Rob?
And I've had a wide variety of influences from 70s rock, 80s, of course. They influenced me greatly. And a lot of the acoustic percussionists. I try to go to as many drum clinics as I can, because there's always something I can take away from a drummer or a percussionist, regardless of what music style he or she plays. So I've been influenced greatly by a wide, vast variety of drummers and percussionists.
I could say I actually kind of heard some of your percussion stuff in You've Taken Everything. I really liked that. Did you play that? I really liked the little, I don't know if it was bongos or what, but it was really nice. It really added something to that track.
That track was done with congas, and yeah, they sounded beautiful in that song.
Yeah, I really liked that song on a personal, emotional level, especially with the lyrics. What brought that on for you?
I'm so glad that you asked that. So Tim and I wrote that together, and that was actually written about my husband passing away when our son was 5 years old. That was really a song about just, when someone or something goes out of your life and you feel like you've been stripped of everything. So when he died, because I realized after he passed away that I put my entire identity into being Brian's wife, that he stripped everything from me. So it's like when he died, he took everything. And it kind of talks to a little bit about how, although on the surface a relationship can seem really perfect or ideal to other people, but you don't know what's going on behind closed doors.
Yeah.
When we first when we did that song, I don't really play acoustic guitar. I mostly played electric, but this was a unplugged thing, so to accommodate the format, I guess I cheated a little bit in using you can hear some effects on my but the whole thing about that song and a lot of our music, which every song is really different, very, very different. Even in that interview, you can hear me saying, if you don't like one of our songs, stick around because it will change. And that song, a lot of people, you remarked that that song is kind of like the purpose of that, to go to a place that means something uniquely for you.
It makes people emotional a lot when we've played it out. I mean, we've had people that come up and they're in tears after they hear it.
Yeah, I reacted kind of that same way to that. It was personally gone through a lot of changes in like the last 3 months, and it was like, oh my God, like that's right, you nailed it. And it really touched me. I really enjoyed it. And it is very different from the other 2 tracks you guys sent. track you sent me was different. Like you said, stick around, it'll change. Like every track was very different. And the instrumental one was really cool. It kind of reminded me, it was Letterman. It reminded me of like a jazz bar I went to in San Francisco.
Nice.
It was like, oh, I really like that.
Well, believe it or not, we take that theme and stretch it on and on and on. I mean, we have 3 hours of those type of changes. So it's kind of hard. People say, okay, well, what kind of music do you do? Well, it's a lot.
Yeah.
We just do music.
We just do music.
Yep.
So your live performances must be really intense and really interesting to watch then. I saw a blip of it on YouTube. I did sneak peeks. I'm a sneaker.
Okay. Yeah, we actually pride ourselves in being good live because there's a chemistry that we all have together when we play, and because we do kind of veer off. Of course, we like to keep the structure of our songs intact because we know how fans are. We're fans too. When you go out to your bands, you want to kind of know when, different changes are happening. But there's also a beauty to hearing them live as well, where they kind of veer off a little bit. So we like to really get people involved in the feeling of the music that we're playing. So, yeah, we think we're really good live.
A lot of what you see on the YouTube stuff is going to be stuff like, because I stepped away from the band for a while, so I think a lot of what you see on YouTube is I'm not in any of that stuff. They may have continued to play some of the music, that I wrote, but I did take a break from the band for a while.
That makes sense. You got to get a breather. There's nothing wrong with that. You got to do what you got to do, and you come back better. I think you come back stronger when you know, hey, I've reached my burnout. It's time to take a break.
And then when Tim and I started talking again about playing together, it was kind of a no-brainer, although there was some stuff that he and I had to work through personally to make that happen again. Enough people know us for being kind of the core of the writing team of this band that when we started talking about playing together again, people were getting excited, like, oh, you guys have got to do this.
So that's a very interesting dynamic, and I think a lot of people don't realize that when they play with a band, it does become like it's a whole nother relationship, and there is a lot of give and take. Would you say that that is a very important piece of advice to give?
Yes, you have to treat a lot like a family. There's a lot of give and take here and there, but you still try to make things work if you want to go forward with a band or with that project.
Yeah.
There has to be a level of respect because, you know, that was something that we dealt with. You have to respect each other and your talents and just as individuals. But I think, you know, the older you get, and the more you're in bands and different projects, you kind of hopefully get a little wiser as well.
Yeah, it's not all partying. And it's like, no, these are relationships you really have to culture, or you have to care for and feed and respect each other.
We actually are interested in giving back too, because we don't want to just make it like we like to do like benefits for we've done for animal shelters and different kind of benefits. Some lady needs a heart pump or something like that, or we've been given a lot. We want to give back a lot too.
Yes.
We hope that we can contribute and not just be takers, you know.
That's really good. I wish more people would do that. What would you say your most fun benefit was, or the one that you enjoyed doing the most?
My favorite one was where we brought home our cat.
Yay! That would be my favorite.
Yeah. We did an animal shelter and we brought home my best cat I ever had. His name was Fu Man.
Fu Man, like Fu Manchu.
That was probably my favorite one also. Yep.
Great.
Yeah.
Do you still have it?
No, unfortunately, he died several years ago.
I keep asking questions that are sad unintentionally.
I told you we have a story, so
You did. You told me.
The thing is, though, I mean, I think it's really good because, see, that's the thing, is sometimes life is not always that great. I mean, and you know, we're sitting here, we could be on TV trying to sugarcoat stuff and everything's just great, but that's not true, though. And we don't want to, you know, perpetuate that kind of garbage that, oh, if you're not making a lot of money, there's something wrong with you, or for everything's, you know, you're not jumping up and down for joy every split second, then something's wrong with you. That's just that's unreasonable to expect that from life. You know?
That's where a lot of our motivation comes from in our writing as well. Is that we like to, what Tim and I have always liked to do, is that we like to write to people can actually relate to it. It's real. It's not like another sugar-coated love song or something.
Well, yeah, if it was all roses and blue skies, you would miss out on a lot of good blues music. There would be no Billie Holiday.
That's true.
To also be perfectly candid, I got to admit that some of our adversity we did cause ourselves. I mean, I know I did, you know, so.
We did.
We all do it. It's okay. But coming up is hard. What advice would you give somebody that's just starting on that path?
But my advice would be you have to be willing to be your own best advocate, because when you're talking about promoting your music, first of all, you have to believe in it, because other people are not if you don't. But that doesn't always mean that other people are if you do. One thing that KamuniQue has learned is that we do not try and be something that we're not. We go out there and we are who we are, and you're either going to like it or you're not. And, you know, we're not going to be mad if someone doesn't like it. We'll just move on and keep finding, you know, a gentleman that I've worked with for a long time that travels the world now and entertains, he gave us a good piece of advice years ago. He said, find your audience. That's what you need to do. It's not about becoming something to get everyone to like you. You find your audience. So, but lastly, we live in a really good day and age for new and upcoming artists because there's so many resources for people to get the word out about what they do, including things like this and being a part of a podcast and getting interviewed and having your music played. That's my 2 cents.
Mine, I would say, stick to your guns. You know, whatever kind of music you're doing that you believe in, somewhere out there, you have a crowd. You have some fans that want to hear that kind of stuff. It may require you to, search online to find them, but they're out there. So stick to your guns and believe in what you're doing. Believe in yourself. Believe in your music. And there's all sorts of technology nowadays for musicians to be able to record at home. You can make it sound as good or as bad as you want. There's so much technology at musicians' fingertips nowadays. It's really easy to get your music out.
Yeah, and I would just say, understand how precious your ideas really are. You have something that nobody else has. And also, stay away from alcohol and drugs. They're just going to waste time, and they're going to keep you from getting really high. Anybody who's a real musician that knows you can get real high on the music. That alcohol and drugs is going to bring you down and waste your time. Value who you are.
I didn't ask you about Can You, that was a live track, wasn't it? I kind of liked the background ambience in that. Ambiance.
That was done during our South by Southwest showcase of 2013.
Oh, cool.
And you can hear the crowds in the background. They were really digging what we were putting out on stage that day. We enjoyed playing South by, and the crowds enjoyed hearing what we had. It's a live track, and I think it captures the band's essence live at our finest moment, one of our finest moments.
Well, thank you. And that song was written, I wrote the lyrics to kind of talk about, taking a different look on things, like if you listen to the lyrics, it's like, oh, I didn't think about that like that, or this like this. It's kind of what it's trying to do is get you out of a particular mindset of looking at things a certain way. It's like, hey, think out of the box. That's one of the things that KamuniQue is big on, is playing music outside of the box. So I want people to think outside of the box. And we actually have kind of an interesting story about that South by Southwest show as well. We our band lineup as we knew it at that time, we knew that when we were going up on stage for that show, that was it. That was our last gig, which three of us were there, but we were breaking up. And so it was pretty heart-wrenching. The downtown traffic in Austin is horrible during South by Southwest, so we were already limited on the slot that we already had to play. And so our set was cut about, 15 minutes short. And when they told us that we had to get off stage, I remember getting down on my knees and throwing my microphone down and just crying because I knew that was our last gig. And so people that were clapping and everything that wanted us to play more, they had no idea why we also wanted to play more. But it was one of our best shows.
Well, the track is amazing, and I couldn't imagine how emotional that had to be for you guys.
Very.
But you came back together in the end, so.
Sorry.
So, oh my gosh, you guys have been so easy to interview. I'm like, all my questions have already been answered. Shit. So is there anything else you want to tell people about KamuniQue?
Well, I just thought I'd throw in that, a lot of this music and being in a band, it's a lot about, ego and our chops and look at how, but what we're trying to do too is try to, that's not the most important thing. I mean, what you do, anybody knows that the people around you that love you. I mean, what's really important after all is said and done, and it's not about money, and, it's about like enjoying your life and seeing how if you can make a difference in somebody else's life, forget about all that. It's me, and our stuff, and aren't we hot, and all this stuff, because none of that matters, really. And anybody gets sick and finds himself in a hospital bed, and they understand real quick about what's really important.
Yeah.
Well, I think something that's kind of a little interesting tidbit about KamuniQue is that you can put Tim and I in a room, and we can have 5 to 10 new songs written in an hour or two.
That's crazy good.
Yeah, we've got, and I really, and I'm not saying that to brag, but I'm saying that I believe that is a God-given gift that he's given, that he's put in the two of us to be able to do it. Because I've played with plenty of other guitar players, and that's not the case. So we have this connection. So that was one of the big reasons why we got back together, is we said, we think we have a lot of music that we haven't written yet, and we want to do that.
There's a certain thing that happens when a bunch of people get together to play. They get in what I would think of as the zone.
Yep.
And the zone is when the sum becomes more than the parts. It's really hard to put your finger on it, but it's the magic that makes the music always want to come back. They put up with all this crap and soap opera and everything like that just for that, like 20, 30 seconds of magic. Boy, it's really something. Yeah.
Gosh, you guys are like so easy to interview. I don't think I've ever had an interview this easy. I don't even know what to do.
We've enjoyed it.
We've enjoyed it, honestly.
Hey, all those people out there, we really care about you. We want you to have a good life. Enjoy yourself.
We say, if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong.
That's right. That's right. One life. So thank you for being on the show, for being one of my first interviews. I really appreciate it.
That was so much fun. Just re-listening to that. I had such a good time. They were such nice people, such great, talented, wonderful musicians. Thank you so much for taking some time out with me. And if you like what you heard, jump down into the description, show them some love on their Facebook and their YouTube. And as always, please like me on whatever sound listening device or whatever the fuck you're using to listen to this episode. I'm super editing this today. And down in my links, down in the description, you will find all the links to my social media, my website, and I hope that you come back next time to make some more noise.